right. Welcome to the Decentralized Daily Podcast, where you get your daily dose of cryptocurrency news and information. The crypto news that matters to you. Nothing on this program should be confused with investment advice, because we don't give you any. It's not that kind of show, guys. Just the facts here, just the facts. So sit back, relax, gather your thoughts, and prepare yourself for today's market movers in cryptocurrency. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Decentralized Daily. Today is Monday, the 19th of February, 2018. Let's take a look at our top 5 market movers. Number 1, we have Bitcoin. It's up 7.29%. Number 2, Ethereum at $948, up 1.7%. At number 3, our centralized currency, Ripple, with the big banks, is $1.14, up 0.41%. Bitcoin Cash at number 4, $1,537.27, up 1.85%. And coming in at number 5, beating out Cardano, is Litecoin at $223.15, up 2.24%. Guys, normally we do 3 articles. Today I found one article that was so incredible that I just wanted to focus everything on it. So Antonopolus of crypto fame published a video, and he had 6 things critics kept getting wrong about the Lightning Network. And then Emilio Janis from Bitcoinist.com actually kind of put it into a readable article. So we're going to take the video that was transformed into an article and put it into an audible podcast and make this information easy to digest no matter where you are. But it's incredible, the information. 6 things critics keep getting wrong about the Lightning Network. And some of these are actually kind of shocking. I didn't know them. So coming in first, so is Lightning Network the second coming for Bitcoin, or the coming of centralization? Andreas Antonopolus states his case for the former in his latest video. That's kind of the setup here. So he says, a lot of misconceptions have arisen around the Lightning Network and the effect it will have on Bitcoin. Look around the internet and you'll find videos such as this and that other offering for information on the Lightning Network that may or may not be accurate. To that end, Andreas Antonopolus has created a video to detail the many things critics are getting wrong, which we have listed below. So first, centralization. So Lightning Network will centralize Bitcoin, concentrating power with a few big players. This assumes that Bitcoin is not already centralized in some way. So without second-layer technologies, there are 2 ways to resolve issues with capacity and increased demand. So number 1, you can increase the base of the block size, putting costs of scaling onto node operators and leading to some centralization of nodes and mining, right? And number 2 is you can push transactions off the blockchain without current levels of security and trustless operation. So this is already happening, whereby transactions are held in private databases of the large exchanges. So it's not really a choice between decentralization or a totally centralized system. It's a choice between off-chain private or off-chain secondary layers with a trustless system. All right, let's look at channels and paths. Number 2, Lightning Network requires each transaction to open and close a new channel. This is something that I thought was true, that the Lightning Network required you to open and close a channel, and many of you probably think that, depending on what videos you watched on YouTube or where you got your data from. But Antonopolus says many people who think that each transaction operating on the Lightning Network needs to open a new channel. The cost of funding and settling each transaction in this case would be huge. A transaction actually just needs a path. The Lightning Network clients can deal with the routing of transactions automatically. So some also believe that the channels must be closed to get settlement. This is something that I used to think was true before I read this article. But this is also not true. So payments can be made again, so that funds stay within the network and you don't have to be cashed out. So you can actually keep adding funds to the network without cashing out, or you can cash out early if you want to. Most of this can be done with wallets and doesn't have to be done manually. So people have taken these misunderstandings and created the impression that the network will inevitably centralize into a hub and spoke analogy. This will become clearer in time, but there are several alt-chain options for those who prefer on-chain scaling. Antonopolus then goes on to address routes and nodes. This one was extremely interesting. So there's a common misconception that Lightning Network uses what he addresses as the hot potato model of routing. So in this hot potato model, each node passes the hot potato to the next node, willing to take a closer look to its destination. Each intermediate knows the source and the destination of the packet, but the Lightning Network uses an entirely different model called source routing. It's actually really smart. So in source routing, the originating code receives information about all available nodes, such as capacity and fees. It then carries an optimal path based on these parameters, such as the lowest overall cost of the route. So this route is then encrypted at each step and then onion skin. This is where it gets cool. So each intermediate knows only the node which the transaction has arrived from. It then removes a layer of the onion and discovers the next node that it must be sent to. So that means that the final destination node is the only one which knows that it doesn't need to go any further, and the originating node is the only one that knows that it didn't arrive from somewhere else. Very clever. Next myth. If each channel needs funding to stay open, that will lock up a lot of value in the system. This is one of the issues that I originally had and the assumptions that I was under, that if you had all this money tied up in the Lightning Network, then this money is not being spent. And it's kind of essentially the same problem that Ripple's trying to solve with money being tied up in the banking system. So, yes, each channel needs enough value at the end to send the capacity of transactions required, but channels can be refilled to make greater payments, for example, by sending Bitcoin to the Lightning Network address. In fact, this goes some way to prevent centralization. Trying to create a node connecting many channels holding a lot of Bitcoin value becomes a target for hackers. It's more beneficial to have more channels to more nodes in a mesh network that is highly funded than highly funded centralized nodes. And I think that makes a lot of sense. I don't know if it's going to work like that, but it definitely seems like it would prevent hacking. Or at least the hacking of your individual pocket node that you're carrying in your iPhone versus one that's being run by your local bank. Node operators will face a lot of risk from AML regulation. This one's interesting. So not necessarily. So AML regulation, if you're not familiar with it, is anti-money laundering. It's always a big popular topic in cryptocurrency. Antonopolus says not necessarily. In most cases, Lightning Network is intended for the transfer of smaller amounts. In most places, money laundering only applies to the money flow of much larger amounts. It would be difficult to find and prosecute individuals running software on their home computers. This does not become a problem, or if this does become a problem, then it will only make the network become stealthier. I don't know if that's a big ringing endorsement of helping me avoid AML regulation. I don't know if I want to get anywhere near that, but apparently if it does become a problem, then it'll make the network stealthier and will have contributed to the Lightning Network in that regard. So Lightning-enabled wallets. Lightning-enabled wallets come with all the confusion about channels and need to open and close them. This is my favorite part about this article. So it's true that early implementations of Lightning Network did bring technical data to the surface and expose elements that should have been hidden behind a user interface. Lightning-enabled wallets should and will look exactly like multi-currency wallets. This is great. Sending and receiving will be achieved through QR codes, and the wallet will be able to tell if the address is for Bitcoin or Lightning Network. Everything should be done for you. If you're interested in running a Lightning node, there are 3 which are bolt compliant that you can get involved with. This means that they will work with each other to form a unified network. So look for the information on LND, that's Lightning Network Daemon, that's Lightning, and Eclair, and you can get it on GitHub or on Mainnet. So as you can see, Andre Antonopolus sets the record straight on a number of misconceptions about the Lightning Network. One should always be careful that misinformation is constantly floating around the net, but We have found the correct information directly from the source. You can get it on your Decentralized Daily podcast at DTalk Daily on Twitter and Facebook. Check us out on iTunes and iHeartRadio. Thanks for tuning in. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow.